Well, yeah. So I just read a note that I wrote. You'll hear me now, right?
Yeah, I could hear you. Yep.
Okay. So yeah, just some questions I had for all the haters. If
Yes, another video. And I'm making this video because I was listening to Becca Scoops working today. And I wasn't going to make a video until I heard Becca's video. And we all know Becca. We all follow Becca. We all love Becca. So I don't even need to say, go watch Becca Scoops video. But apparently last night, Rod went on a live and called out the haters. And, you know, pretty much we're just talking about Gypsy because we're jealous and we're haters, right? I'm not going to get into the jealousy part. Yeah, I look like total crap right now. And this is like one of my worst days. I still, Rod, would not be jealous of your daughter. And I'm like 10 years older than her. More. We don't need to get into that. But nobody's jealous of your daughter. Um, Becca did say it at the very end of her video exactly how I've been feeling. Because, he says we don't have empathy for Gypsy. No, we have empathy, or you just don't have empathy at all, right? No, we have empathy, just like Becca said. Most people do. And most people making these videos are just haters. The haters are the loudest. She has way more support than she does haters. And that everybody in public is always very respectful. Well, yes, they are, Rod. hmm Most are. Just like the people at the college she went to speak at when she was pregnant. And everybody was just so nice to her and she was so happy. And then the next day, she saw the post how she was getting made fun of. And this was said, and this was said. And it was so hurtful because that's really how they feel. It's not because people, let's just put it this way, most people wouldn't say it to her face. They're probably scared too. And I mean that in the most serious way. I'd be scared. To be honest with you, if I saw her in public, I would go the other way. I wouldn't want a picture with her. I wouldn't want contact with her. I wouldn't want to be in the same vicinity within 100 miles of your daughter. She's a scary person. And, looking through the comments and how this creator is definitely, you know, a die-hard Gypsy supporter. Let me just start off by saying I was one of those people who thought, yeah, Dee Dee didn't deserve it, but I felt very bad for your daughter, Rod. Like, God, could you imagine being forced to do what she's done? Could you imagine making your child sick? Could you imagine? But then the real facts came out. Y'all keep saying these are the facts. The facts are what you say. The facts are what Gypsy says. Rod, where were you when she was being done this way? And you knew it wasn't right, you said. Now, this is your story now. Why has your story changed too? Like all y'all's stories changed. Kristy was in the live. I want to say I even heard Mia. I don't know if it was Mia. I could be wrong. It could have been just Kristy, but um, they all 100% believe that this was her own. I do not believe that. They think this was her only way out. She wasn't a kid, Rod. She was 24. 24. She was not a kid. She was able to get on a bus by herself, go to Walmart, buy the KNIFE, plot Dee Dee's demise for 2 years, took advantage, testified in court. He was easily to coerce Nick. It was easy because he is mentally handicapped. He has a disability. She knew that. But even before that, she shot a BB gun and thought it was real at Dee Dee. Your wife says, oh, good for her. Good for her, Kristy? You said good for her? Where were y'all? Rod, there is court documents showing you owed like $28,000 or more in child support. Where were y'all? Gypsy's last live, talking about she's jealous of Mia. She's not now, she said. But then right after saying all that says, yes, my sister is a trigger to me. Not was, is. So she is still jealous, Rod, of Mia. I get it that you came running when HBO came, because let's not forget, you hadn't seen your daughter in 10 years, and the first time you saw her, you showed up with the HBO crew. Wow. Wow. You showed up with an HBO crew to see your daughter you were so concerned about, who had no choice to do this, right? So worried about your daughter. And you showed up with a camera crew from HBO to do the Mommy, Dead, and Dearest documentary. Amazing parents. Bravo. You were there for her. Bravo. Nobody believes that Dee Dee was a perfect mother. I don't believe Dee Dee was a perfect mom, but I do believe Dee Dee loved her. You said that in your own emails with your own mouth, or wrote it down. Nobody would ever love your daughter Gypsy more than her mother Dee Dee, and that she was a good mom. Gypsy repeatedly said she was a good mom to the cops. Her and her mom were great. She loved her mom. I get it was an interrogation. She was going to say that, right? But she continues to say that in emails. The issue that we have, and I agree 1000% with this from what Becca said, it's not that she took her life because it was her, Dee Dee, and she was scared and it was because of the ABUSE. It was because of a guy. It was because of men. She had been caught repeatedly talking to older men that were on probation. They weren't good men. We'll just say that. And Dee Dee put a stop to it because there were other things that had happened that Dee Dee saw was concerning. I would agree. I do not think Dee Dee's scamming was okay. I don't think that. I don't think it's okay for any child to be included into a scam. Do I think Dee Dee did what she could in scary situations to take care of her daughter when you weren't there? I do. Absolutely. And Gypsy learned it. Not only did she learn it, she figured out how to do it better.
Their story is that everything can be explained from the micro deletion, and Dee Dee was actually a good mother. You know, some simple questions like, why was she in a wheelchair? And these are all questions that you don't even like need to do a lot of research and go read all the medical records and all this stuff. Just some simple questions. Why was she in a wheelchair since like 5 or 6 years old and made to stay in the wheelchair? Uh, why take biopsies on her legs? Why remove her salivary glands?
It's very true.
Why forge her birth certificate? If she was such a good mother, why would you do that? You know, I mean, that's just some simple things that, right, yeah, she does have a microdeletion. There are symptoms. And some of her things, her eyes being crossed, might have something to do with the microdeletion. Some people say it doesn't. But take all of the facts, not just some of the things you can validate, all the facts regarding abuse. I don't care what y'all want to call it. Y'all can call it Munchausen's by proxy or whatever, or malingering. It doesn't matter. That's just a technical
Yeah.
term. It's
Right.
at the end of the day, it was abuse, and how they cannot see that
It's mind-boggling.
Gypsy was just in a position of complete helplessness after being held like that for so many years, and they can't sympathize, and they just want to blame her and say she was in on the scam, and there's evidence that she was in on the scam. Well, of course, that's all she was trained to do and forced to do all of her
Yeah.
life. So
Her whole life.
it's just astounding that people, and that's why I say I can't understand why anybody can hate on her so much. I get it; they might be a little jealous and all, but really, if that's really how you feel, what if that would be your family or somebody you knew that had to go through all of that? Would you feel the same way? And it's just, I think
Yeah.
it's just jealousy. I think, I mean, I don't want to throw any names out there, but I think it just kind of started from one person, uh, and just, she found a little slither of something that she can, say, turn the story around, and that's it, But anyway,
Hmm.
thanks for listening. That's all I wanted to say. I have more, but I can't figure out how to use TikTok. So
Yeah, that's true, and I'm sorry you
Thank
went through
you.
all that.
thank you.
And we'll always stand by Gypsy because it's all true. You have
Yeah,
a
I mean, I
really
don't know how
good
they
Yeah,
can't see
daughter.
thank
that.
y'all for y'all support. I think y'all are all reasonable and sympathetic people, and apparently good people as well. Thank y'all for y'all support. Um, I really believe she's got a lot more support than haters. I mean, the loud
Very.
ones always you see them first, but I really don't think um, there's a million people, or a lot of hate towards her. I really don't. Most people we meet, or all the people we meet, she meets. I've never met anybody that was disrespectful to us, or her, or anything like that. So I think it's just all for sure to maybe make some money. It's their prerogative, free speech. Let it rip.
Well, we're here for all of you.
Yeah,
Anything
we
we can
just want
do.
them to know the truth.
Well,
So,
thank Yeah, y'all are doing a good job. I'll listen to y'all for a little while. I never listened to y'all before. I didn't even know where y'all from or anything like that. But it sounds like y'all were doing a decent job of interpreting what y'all have there. So good work. Appreciate it.
thank you.
A lot of parents scam the system, the government, in some type of way on the internet. It is the worst thing today. They use a story. The difference is, Dee Dee didn't make Gypsy sick. She does have microcephaly and the 1Q2.211. 1Q.21. The microdeletion. I always get it mixed up. I'm sorry. Um, I think it's sad that you sat and heard her story. She's had over 100 surgeries. She has not. Getting your feeding tube changed is not a surgery. It's not. You can do it at home. I know every creator has been over that and repeated that. Her teeth, her teeth were rotted from soda. We're not even going to get into that. No dentist would just go in and take out someone's teeth. No insurance company would do these procedures without proof. Dee Dee wasn't making her sick. She didn't know what was wrong with her. I do believe Dee Dee thought that Gypsy had a very short life. I do believe that part. I do believe Dee Dee had some breakdowns along the way of raising Gypsy alone with no family and no husband. That you up and left. You and Kristy had kids. You also had another kid at the same time Gypsy was born. You were all over the place, Rod. We all seen what you said about Kristy in the emails too. Very. Y'all proclaim to be this Christian family. Yes, you can be forgiven for anything, but to sit here and gaslight people and tell them that if you can't see, Dee Dee didn't make Gypsy sick. It's documented that she has this, right? It was just the fact that they didn't know what it was until 2008. Gypsy's test that she had done was 20 years ago for the muscular dystrophy to see if that's what it was. And the biopsy, muscle biopsy, was from that. And she said she lied to her mom. That's in the court's transcripts. And do we know if anything's real because she changes everything? No. Now, 1980 Millennial is going through a book, and wouldn't you know, the book she's reading about is from a girl who has Munchausen, and she was forced to be put in a wheelchair, and she was 6 years old when it happened. I'm just, every story Gypsy has, it's from somebody else. Rod, explain this. Why did she say her mother chained her to a bed? And here I am believing this because let me tell you, I was taken and held against my will. I was starved. I was beaten. I was rugged and raped and more. As an adult, I didn't do anything to that guy except run when I had the chance. Yes, I was an adult, but so was your daughter. Your daughter said she was chained to a bed and she was beaten from her mom. In her last life, she said she had ABUSE, just not, from bruises and that type of abuse, just mentally. Rod, where does it click with you? Or is it just the fact that you have to stand up and say something now because you know your daughter's free? You know she's very jealous of Mia and has all the support in the world, and you know you better support her, is what I think. Or maybe it's just delusion at this point. I don't know. And y'all refuse to look at any of the actual evidence. I don't know. I don't care. I don't. Your daughter accused 2 to 3 people of rape. And then she laughs and turns around and says, after the girl did solitary confinement and all the other punishments she got, well, I told the truth after like a year or so, I think. That makes it okay. She testified on the stand. I don't want to hear, oh, because I knew about it firsthand. We all saw her text messages, Rod. Your daughter had control of every situation, everything. And I'm telling you right now, if you don't have empathy for people who have been through ABUSC, who do you know if she was done that way, the PTSD she would have? I don't see any. It is so hard to understand how you, and she laughs and mocks her mother's demise in videos. Her and her friends do this. I mean, come on, Rod. Do you not have empathy for people who do go through this and they sit here and watch her lie about other people's traumas? Do you not have empathy for that? I have empathy for Dee Dee. Like I said, I ran from my captor. He got 134 years in prison. That was 10 years ago. I'm not okay still. But your daughter can get on here and do reality TV and lie and laugh and make up stories and get on here and threaten her exes and make a fool and make money from this actual crime your whole family has. This is why you support her. That's what people aren't okay with. It is the lies and behavior after it. And I'll be honest with you, if you falsely accuse somebody of rape, you should do time, because it makes it harder for real victims to be believed. Let's just not even get into that, okay? Let's not. Let's not. It doesn't matter. Y'all don't have empathy. And if you were a Christian and you were truly children of God, you would see where people are hurting from that. You would see where people don't understand. Your daughter had control of her medical for the past 6 years. She signed off on her own dental work, everything. There was no big surgery coming up. She could have walked away, Rod. If she could get out, go to the hospital and see her guy that was in the hospital who got beat up, steal her mom's medicine and money again, she could have told someone. Her mother was so sick at that point. She was in the hospital, stay with her Why didn't she tell somebody when Dee Dee had to have the surgery, when she was sick then? Dee Dee had cancer. Dee Dee went through things too. I'm not saying Dee Dee was perfect. She didn't deserve what happened to her, and your daughter acts like, oh, well, I didn't commit the act, so I don't identify. Most people who plot, plan, and go through with this and don't commit the act get more time than the actual person who did, because that person usually turns and gives evidence on them. But for some reason, because Gypsy was well known in her town, I think, and they all wanted this big, great story, and all the HBO stuff was coming in, et cetera, that changed. Your daughter has some very, very concerning behaviors right now that needs help. That's the truth. Why you can't see that, I don't know. If it is for the money or what, I don't know. I don't care. But I'm not a hater and I'm not jealous. I can promise you that. You guys knew she could walk. You guys knew that she was sick, but not as sick as what. I think you guys knew that Dee Dee was conning. And I think you overlooked it because you knew you weren't helping. That's what I think. Did Dee Dee do wrong by putting Gypsy in on the con? Yes. But there is a time in your life when you grow, Rod, you know right from wrong. There are kids who were severely, severely abused that escaped, locked houses, windows, doors, and went to the cops and saved the rest of their siblings. The most horrible torture. And they still said they loved their parent. I'm not going to pretend like I know what goes through Gypsy's head. Nobody can. Again, I'm going to say the issues that a lot of people have is her behaviors that has been shown to us since she has been released and all the information has been released. If you can sit here and say that your daughter doesn't have some severe issues that need addressed, I don't know what to tell you. I do think your daughter was sick. Medical records show that. They didn't even know what Gypsy had because it wasn't known to anybody. Science hadn't evolved to say what it was yet, and didn't until 2008. Like Becca said, was Dee Dee that good and psychic that, she plotted this whole thing around a imaginary disease that she just knew one day was going to come into play and it would back her story. I think Dee Dee got scared at the end. I do. There was no conservatorship over Gypsy. There was no legal guardianship over Gypsy after she was 18. The only thing Dee Dee had was if something happened to Gypsy, like during a procedure, etc., and she was unconscious and couldn't make that decision on her own, that would be the only time Dee Dee stepped in. And you're telling me that once Gypsy had control, and it's her signatures on these we've seen the documents with our own eyes for the dental and other, she had signed for her own documents years after. And you're going to sit here and tell me that Dee Dee made her do that too? I don't get it. I get where she was continually trying to get more money, and she knew it was ending because of Gypsy's age. It was wrong. It was wrong. That doesn't compare to somebody who is physically making their child sick and abusing them like your daughter claimed at first, and now it's just psychological, and she made her sit in a wheelchair. She didn't have I'm not going to go into all this. I'm not. I don't think your daughter took Dee Dee's life because of MPD and she felt it was her or Dee Dee. She did it for guys. And she tried to talk other guys into doing it. I believe that. I do. She knew Nick was easily coerced and manipulated. She testified to that. It doesn't matter if she... Rod, look what your daughter... I do not understand how you can even say, oh, well, he told her to make these videos with what she said about her first daughter being born. Nowhere does it prove. Nowhere. It all comes from your daughter. She behaves then like she does now. That's the concerning patterns that we are seeing. Not what she told everybody. Documented facts that are concerning then is showing now, but worse. Again, we are not jealous of your daughter, Rod, at all. We think it's a shame that your daughter and your family are making money off of a woman's unaliving that she committed, where most perps get more time than the person who actually did it because they were the one who plotted, planned, and she even paid him. Basically, she really did. That's the truth. I want to put this in here too at the very end because I did see this today when I went to TikTok to look for the video. We've all heard the rumors that Ken was in rehab. I don't know. It's alleged. This is all alleged. I do not know. I don't have an opinion either way. But supposedly Kristy and his sister, Savannah, I think she's a half sister, but his sis, confirmed that he is, and that he failed a rug test for CPS.
Ken after his sister comes on and confirms that he is in rehab. Allegedly, Ken went to rehab after he failed a rug test from CPS. There was a lot of speculation after Ken's last live, and everybody thought he was on, snow. If you haven't noticed, Ken's TikTok, his IG, their family channel, all of it's down. Things are getting a little wild with Gypsy and her husband. I don't know what you guys think. A lot of people had been speculating anyways that Ken had been doing, So honestly, it doesn't surprise me, especially not after watching several of his lives, and he did seem somewhat intoxicated. They did have CPS involved before, and Gypsy showed a letter showing that they were cleared, but allegedly they're back. He failed the CPS drug test. He is in rehab. That is confirmed by his sister. I don't even know, guys. I don't even have a lot of words.
I'll just leave that with y'all as a little thought to think of. I'm just here to commentate. I'm here to give you my opinions. I do not care if it's considered wrong or right. It's an opinion, right? My opinion is mine. And I think that there's a lot of lies, manipulation, and a lot of very concerning behavior that happens that we all think isn't okay. And everybody's like, oh, well, you know about your Gypsy, about your daughter. If this is true with Ken, I could care less. I really could. I don't care enough about you or your child to even care if it's true. I don't care enough to pick up a phone and even call CPS about it, because if I'm just going to say this one more time, you put those pictures out of your daughter, you said everything about your daughter. If you don't care enough, why should we? And I'm going to say this too. You keep saying, I don't owe y'all anything. We don't owe you anything, Gypsy. We don't owe you grace. We don't owe you a chance. We don't owe you forgiveness even. You are in the court of public now. Your debt to society, you've never paid a debt to society or the public's opinion. Judgments from the public's opinion, that's a whole different ballgame. You keep saying you don't owe us. No, you willingly put this information out there, and guess what? We don't owe you a thank you. We don't owe you grace. We don't owe you a first, second, third, fourth, fifth, 10th, 100th chance. We don't owe you anything. And that's what I'm going to leave with this and the little clip that I saw on TikTok. Do I believe it? I don't know. I don't care. Like I said, I don't care enough about Ken, Gypsy, Ryan, or their kid. Why should I? They don't care. Why should we? They don't owe us nothing. We don't owe them nothing, right? That's how I feel. I'm talking about a crime. The rest of it is just extras to talk about and chit chat about and get opinions on. It's an opinion, and that's it. It's all alleged. Do with that information whatever, I could care less. It's an opinion. And I do think that his behaviors in a lot of videos are very concerning, and the shaved head makes sense. Yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. Love you guys. Please like and subscribe.
Gypsy and Ken are under a lot of heat after a live that Ken was on where he seemed intoxicated. Well, Ken's been missing for a few days, and the internet got kind of curious because, everyone's all up in their business. So he deleted his Instagram, he deleted their family vlog, and he deleted his TikTok. But today on a post, Ken's sister actually chimes in and says he's not missing. He's in a rehabilitation center for substances. And then somebody else comments and says he's in there because he failed his rug test for CPS. Everybody has been speculating that both of their eyes have looked like they're on Coca-Cola.
Okay, Torchy's tacos was super good. Very spicy though.
Yeah, the Diablo sauce.
It was a little spicy.
Very spicy though. It was a little spicy.